Well, guys, the World Cup is underway, and this is the time of year where everybody seems to get up and ready to watch some soccer and cheer on the USA, and hopefully they can do well on the world's biggest stage. Now, a lot of people here on YouTube want me to make soccer videos, talk about the US and how I think they're going to do, and talk about the World Cup and things of that sort. But guys, like hockey, soccer's not my sport, and soccer really has never been my sport. I've never liked it. I did play it when I was younger. I actually played up till 8th grade, but it never really stuck with me. It's just a sport that it's not me. And people are always, all the time, this my entire life, telling me how I should enjoy soccer and how I just don't understand the game and things of that sort. So what I thought I would do here is maybe do a video series or something like that of why I don't like soccer and some of the arguments I hear from soccer fans about why I should. Now, this is not going to be a confrontational kind of video of soccer sucks or this is why football is better than soccer or something like that. More so just kind of a word vomit of what I think about the game and the different arguments I hear and where I think things are wrong and where things are good. Some of these videos are not going to have anything of where the sport's better than the other, more of just a comparison. Some of the things I'll say that soccer is better than other sports. But in the first one I will talk about one of the main things I hear from soccer fans concerning it and telling me and others who don't like the game, usually they call us ignorant Americans, even from other Americans, that we don't understand the matrimony of the game. We don't understand the emotion that goes into it and the extraneous things that make it so great. Now, I got to tell you right now, when I had to get up early in the morning because I had to do an interview, cover a story here in Austin, and I got to see the very opening ceremony for South Africa versus Mexico. And I got to tell you, when I watched, especially the South Africans, both sides, but most of the South Africans, when I saw them, they played their anthem, you saw those people, how emotional they were, how happy they were that it was in their country, and what it meant to them. I got to tell you, it was pretty moving. It was something that you could definitely tell was very important in these people's lives. I mean, that's not what sports are, whatever sport it is. We all put some kind of importance to that. And you can definitely tell this is big time. So yeah, it got me into. I was like, wow, this means something. And then even going to where I got to see, and I tried to watch most of the England U.S. game. And if you want to compare it to football, whenever they played the national anthem before the England game, I didn't think the instruments and whatnot were so good. It was probably one of the worst instrumental renditions of it. I think part of that because it kind of blew through it, and they probably blow through it. Go real fast with the other anthems, though I just don't notice it, and I think as Americans don't notice it because we don't hear those songs all the time. But we know the pace of our song, so it seemed kind of quick and kind of rushed. That being said, I think it was one of the most emotional I've seen of a group of people singing it. You saw the guys on the field with their hands over their hearts singing the song. You saw the fans who traveled all the way from America to South Africa to watch this. You saw them sing it as loud as they could, just trumpeting across the field. And it was great to see that, to see your country represented on the nation's in front of the entire world, and seeing people so passionate for that. And I liken that to maybe a college football game, where we do play the national anthem here, but in any other sport we play it before every sport. So people put their hands on their heart, they're very respectful, but it's become a routine. That being said, say here in Austin, for example, the Eyes of Texas start playing, everyone gets their horns up, everyone sings as loud as they can. And that's not just a Texas thing. That's Texas A&M with the War Hymn and Oklahoma Sooners and all that. Now, this is just my theory on it. I believe that whenever your team, at least in sports, whenever you have something that represents your team, and there's someone there who's against that, whether it be Texas versus Texas A&M or Texas versus Oklahoma or whatever, when you sing that to support your school, as well as knowing there are people in that building who may not support that. I think that has a lot to do with the World Cup. Is with the U.S., it's not just some routine. This represents your team, and your team represents the whole country against someone else. And I don't think there's any kind of hatred or animosity done in this way, or it's done spitefully. But I do think there's a little more pride in it when there's people in the building who may not have been around that culture before, and you want to share that or just be proud of that. And so I can respect that, and I think that's great. But I think one of the main tells of why this is not this doesn't grab me and make me want to sit there and keep up with this tournament the whole time. I forgot his name, but we all know, if you've been watching ESPN, the main sports analyst who played soccer, he's the main soccer analyst. And they asked him about what it's like to play in the World Cup. And he said, you get out there, you hear the songs, you see the fans, and it takes you back a little bit. You realize how big a stage you're on. But then once the ball's kicked, it becomes soccer again, and you just got to do your job. Now, of course, when he says that, it's nothing new that you hear from athletes in any sport. You hear Kobe Bryant or any of those guys who are in a championship game will say, yeah, the stage is big, but it's still basketball. It's still football. It's still something you've done every day. But at the same time, I think for a guy like me, what that tells me, and as a fan, it's still soccer. So when I watch this and I don't like soccer, no matter what emotional buildup I've seen, it's still soccer, and I still don't like the sport. Another example of that could be when I first got to UT, when I was a freshman. First couple of days here of class, the UT women's volleyball team had a game here. And they were playing Pepperdine, which apparently is a pretty good volleyball school. Now, the University of Texas women's volleyball team is real good, and we've been playing for national championships and things of that sort. So we went to the game, and the only Longhorns game I'd been to before was in 2005 when I went to College Station to watch Vince Young and the guys play. But I'd never been to a game in Austin before. So you get in there, and there is this college atmosphere. It's so much different than high school. There was whenever the team scored, everyone throw their horns up, say "Point Texas" in unison. It was awesome to see this kind of school spirit. That being said, as the game went on, it was still volleyball, and I still wasn't a fan of it. So what I say to soccer fans is this: I don't deny that there's a great deal of emotion, there's a great deal of passion in this game. But if you're trying to sell your sport to me, who's a football guy who doesn't really like soccer that much, you're going to have to come up with something better than that. Now, that's my thought on this part of it. I'm going to definitely talk more about this subject as the weeks go on. Try to keep these within the World Cup time. I definitely welcome any kind of videos, comments, or anything to keep this discussion going. Though I will say I would like the videos to address what I'm talking about in each video. So right now I don't want to hear about the skill level and how many people watch it and things of that sort. This video was about the emotional side of the game. So later on we'll talk about skill, we'll talk about revenue, things of that sort. But right now we're going to talk about the emotion of the game. So guys, give me your comments, give me your feedback, and we'll see you guys later.